What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into Coffee with Brodes. How are you on this fine Thursday morning? I'm losing track of days. We have some things to discuss from last night. The Fly Guys got shut out by Toronto. It was somewhat of a dud. I do plan on making a podcast. Last night, I just got home super late from the game, and I was so damn beat. I thought maybe I would just do it today, but there is a lot to discuss from what happened last night. I think Joel Farabee's in a little bit of a slump. Cam McIntyre, and we knew that they died down from where they were. It's impossible to keep up that type of pace, but it's like, okay, what happens with this team when that does occur? Will somebody else be on a hot streak? Will the team struggle to score goals totally? I think that's where we're at right now. John Tavares wasn't in the lineup. The Flyers had a chance there to perform better than what they did. They took a lot of shots on net, but they weren't from high scoring chances. There was a spurt towards the last few minutes of the second period. There were a couple chances in the first period. I thought in the third they got outworked. You end up taking a penalty there. Ivan Provorov goes to the box, and William Nylander scored his second of the night. That was a wicked wrister in the slot area after Carter Hart made a stellar save. So, it was a dud. I mean, I chalked that up to they laid an egg, and here you go. You got to bounce back, but this time you're heading to Carolina on Friday, and you're playing a 10-1-0 hockey team. So it's going to be extremely difficult. We have that. We have the 76ers who look to play Toronto tonight to see if they can get a W to somewhat take the pain away from us here from the Flyers losing. And that's really what we have. There's also the Thursday night football game, which is what? Is it the Ravens? I honestly don't even know. I don't know who's playing tonight. It's the Ravens and Dolphins. They're going to beat up on whoever the hell they play. It's going to be a bad one probably. Who knows though? Maybe this is like those ones where you think it's going to be horrendous and you think it's going to be pathetic, and then somehow the Dolphins win the game. That would be problematic for us Eagles fans here, considering we need that pick. All right, we need that draft pick for sure. But cheers everybody. We got ourselves a nice cup of Joe here. I had to open up a fresh bag of my Wawa coffee because I finished my hazelnut yesterday. So we're going regular today, just regular black. I like to flip around a little bit. I still got so much pumpkin spice, I'm just not diving into it. That's a great point, William. That's a fantastic point that you just made. The power play was atrocious. I mean, it was one of the worst power plays I've ever seen, and I wrote this down in my notes. Where was that one power play? It was horrendous. I think it was hold on, I have it here. Provorov loses control at the blue line, and Toronto kills off the first minute with ease. And then Brassard's down by the goal line. He's trying to make a pass up top to the blue to try and set things up. It goes all the way back down the ice, and it goes back towards Carter Hart. The power play ends. You're lucky to be alive there. You're lucky to be tied 0-0. It probably should have been 1-0 Toronto at that point. But when you get a man advantage and you can't even set up, it's brutal. They had one good power play all night. One good power play, and that was, I don't know if that was that was in the third period. That was in the third period with Claude Giroux. They went back to an older look. Claude Giroux, Travis Konechny, Couturier, JVR, and Keith Yandel. They ripped a few pucks on net, no finish. The score was already 2-0 at this point, so it wasn't as if there was a lot of, there wasn't a lot of energy in there. It kind of was what it was, if you will. So, it was just a dud game. Their power play was anemic. They have to find ways to get better production. They got to get better shots on net. They got to get set up. I mean, that's where you got to begin. That's where you have to start. You got to set up on the power play, get inside the zone, and at least start moving the puck around. It was terrible. The boos were raining down, and it's a shame because there was actually a good energy in that building last night. You got the Maple Leafs. You're on NHL Network. I went to the game against the Coyotes, their last home game before that, and it was so much quieter. It's like, hey, there's a good team in town. It would have been nice to see a 3-0 the other way, 3-1 the other way, some sort of life the other way. But unfortunately, it was just a disgrace of an effort. It was bad. And I had to hear AB after the game talk about how, it was kind of close. And I'm like, why? He's like, yeah, both teams just, one went off their skate early. And it's like, how was this close? He said, well, if you look at the shot totals, They were limited in chances. We were limited in chances. They just kind of pounced on their opportunities. The problem was the power plays ruined momentum for us. I'm going, did we watch the same game, AB? Did we watch the same game? Because I didn't see that at all. Didn't see that at all. Hey, Christopher, what's going on? Yeah, man, I'll see you on Friday. I'll see you on Friday. I'm looking forward to it. I definitely am. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Any predictions on the Sixers tonight? I mean, they're shorthanded again. This is going to consistently hurt them that they're playing so not – I hate saying the word banged up, but they're playing so shorthanded. So it's very difficult. It is. It's extremely difficult. I think they're going to continue to probably lose games. They're going to show us heart. They're going to show us fight, and then they're going to lose games. But look, yesterday I thought the Flyers – I went during coffee with Brodes. Brodes, what do you think about the Flyers? I think they're going to win. Well, they got smacked. Today, Brodes, how do you think about the Sixers? I think they're going to constantly fight, but probably lose because they don't have enough firepower to hang for 48 minutes. And then with me saying that, they're probably going to win. So hopefully it's the exact opposite of what I just did with the Flyers, and it works in our favor here with the 76ers. But yeah, I mean, they could beat this team. It's not as if this is an unwinnable game. This is a very winnable game, even while shorthanded. If you can put all your effort out there like you did against the Bucks and hang that way, it's just, can you consistently throw out that effort nonstop without running out of fuel when some of your players are playing 40 minutes that deserve to be playing less than that? So it's going to be tough. Smack Toronto. They are a young, gritty team. Did I say that they're going to smack Toronto? What's the title of my show here? I don't even know. Flyers ugly loss to Toronto, but Sixers can smack Toronto tonight. I didn't say they will smack Toronto tonight. I said they could. They could. Toronto just smacked the Flyers. No one thought heading into the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs that the Flyers would just get absolutely smacked that way. I didn't say they will. I said they could. They have a chance. They can. That's all. Carter Hart played amazing. Yeah. He's consistently been playing strong this year. I think all the concerns that people had should start to go away. I think he's showing you if he's consistent like he has been, he's not the problem. He's the farthest thing from the problem. So, yeah, Carter Hart's definitely been strong for sure. Sixers win tonight. The team has good chemistry. Maxey and Curry have been amazing. Well, I don't know what the status of Seth Curry is. He did not play last game. And considering he did not play last game, I don't know where he's at with that. I think they labeled it as a foot contusion. So with the foot contusion, I don't know what his status is going to be just a couple games after. Maybe they try and milk this until Saturday where they play the Pacers in Indiana. Maybe that's what they do. Or they know they need to grab a victory here. So because that, they're hungry for a win, hungry to stop the bleeding, they do play him. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see the updated information on where we're at. Brodes, do you think that Rager should be traded? Well, I don't know. I mean, them trading Jalen Rager. First off, who's jumping out of their boots to trade for Jalen Rager? If we're going to be 100% honest, if you're another team, if you run another organization, are you picking up the phone to call Howie Roseman instantly to go get Jalen Rager? I would say no. I mean, honestly, I'd probably say no. So, I mean, you're going to go get Godwin, a player like Godwin. I don't even know what his Godwin NFL contract. I love this. Oh, he's got 1 year on the 15 mil. He's got 1 year. He's a UFA after next year. So Godwin is a unrestricted free agent. He's a UFA. You're not even going to need to trade for him if that's somebody that you want who's 26 years old next season. So that doesn't really make much sense. But yeah, I know this is a Philly chat, but my Wizards are back. Yeah, no. Even I'm taking it all in. You can take it all in all you want, Adrian. You can take it in all you want. There's always these teams that start out nice and then people get excited. I mean, look, I guess if you're accustomed to what you watch all the time in Washington, It makes sense. You're stuck with the Washington football team. The Wizards are normally bad, so any sort of winning early will put a huge smile on your face. This is what I'll say, Adrian. If you're a Washington, D.C. sports fans, one, you have a World Series as of late, which is magnificent. But two, you'll have the Capitals. You'll consistently have that Capitals team that is a respected squad that year in and year out, they put a product out there that is strong and cup contending consistently. So the Washington, D.C. fans, they have Ovi and they have the Capitals. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of it. Do you see the Phillies targeting big names? So I listened to Jim Salisbury a little bit last night before I fell asleep, and he was talking about the shortstop market, obviously, because that's a big one. Corey Seager, Carlos Correa. Apparently, Dave Dombrowski. Remember yesterday I was looking on where the hell did Dave Dombrowski speak? I did not see anything. Well, apparently where the meetings are right now, that's where he was speaking with some of the media members and speaking to some of the guys. And he was talking about Bryson Stott, and they're pushing Bryson Stott in camp almost with the mindset of go win that job. Don't be happy to be there. Don't just say, hey, I'm at the big league club. No. Go win that job. Win that job. And it seems like they have Bryson Stott in the crosshairs here to be the guy of the future. Would that limit you in landing a bigger fish at the shortstop position? Maybe you look for a Castellanos. Maybe you look more towards center field / leadoff, where you can start now filling out your batting order and filling your holes. If you think you have your shortstop of the future and he's not very far away, would it make sense to target a Seager, target the big name fish? I mean, look, if you can grab a big star, by all means, I'm here for it. I'm just saying, if you're logically trying to build around your roster and they are as high on Stott as they make it seem to be, it would probably make more sense to look at starting pitching. We've definitely heard that, well, pitching in general, I should say, not starting pitching. Pitching in general is a focus of theirs, to the point where apparently Dave Dombrowski made it very clear. We need a closer. We need a guy that is automatic shut down. We need someone we can rely on. Because think about it. Since Dave Dombrowski's been here, it's been throw up in your mouth version of bullpen, throw up in your mouth, let's blow saves every single night, where that seems to be a big focus. So, just interesting ways to kind of look at how they might build out their roster moving forward. Well, Didi might not end up being there. It might be something where Didi comes into camp with an opportunity, but if he doesn't win it, well, then see you later. Ends up not happening. Oh, yeah, it's 1,000%, Pat. You nailed it. That's exactly where he wants to go here. That's probably his number one focus. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to be his first get, because it might be difficult to maneuver around that, whether it's trading for Craig Kimbrell or if it's, losing compensation because of a qualifying offer, but you go land your guy. So there's a few different things there. I mean, Didi's good, but last year was horrendous. But, I mean, to act as if Didi hasn't had any sort of success in this league is unfair. And I know he's getting older in his career, but last year was definitely an outlier, a severe outlier. Is that who he is? Is that a product of the forearm? Is he getting his forearm figured out? Apparently that is happening, and that did happen. So, I mean, he's had way more success than bad years. And, maybe he is toast. Maybe he is cooked. Maybe his career is finished and he's not able to get back to the level he once was. But it's also possible that he can bounce back. I don't know. It'll be up to him to show everybody early on that he either has it or he doesn't have it. That's more of the thing. It's on him. He's in control here. He controls his own destiny. Well, yeah, those are the two names that everyone's talking about, Craig Kimbrell and Glacius. There's some difficulties, compensation to acquire these guys. Craig Kimbrell and Dave Dombrowski do have a relationship in the past when you speak about the Boston Red Sox and the history there. Yeah, I mean, those are big names. Those are professionals, though. Those are as pro can get at the closer position. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to, like, everyone's talking about, well, they got to get closer. They got to get a shortstop. They got to get left field. They got to get a center field. They got to get a leadoff guy. They need to get all of them. They need to get all of them. That's the problem. That's why we talked about it last year, how there's a lot of holes to fix, and there's a lot of issues here for Dave Dombrowski. That's exactly why we were talking about it. They need a lot of. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Unfortunately. Give Hurts one more year. Take the DN from Oregon. Go to LSU and a linebacker. Well, look, it depends how everything shapes up. But apparently you got Howie Roseman right now. The hell is going on with this mic? We got Howie Roseman right now going to look at some quarterback play, which I don't mind, by the way. I don't have an issue with that at ever. Scotty Barnes. Hey, how are you? I mean, there is no more. They're all insanely important. They need third base, which it's got to be Alec Boehm stepping up big time. But they need third base. They need shortstop. They need left field. They need center field. They need starting rotation help. But it seems that with Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Zach Eflin, Kyle Gibson, Ranger Suarez, that might be their mindset heading into the season. They need 5 bullpen arms? I mean, they're all extremely important as a unit, as one. So they have a lot to figure out. They got a lot to do. Dave Dombrowski's a busy, busy man this offseason. And I'm looking forward to it, though, because I have a lot of belief in Dave. I'm a Dave believer. In the beginning, I was nervous. I didn't know. Looking at his history, he treats farm systems like they're nothing, and this team already doesn't have any, and that's an area they need to target. But it's clear that he goes, you need them. I'm willing to give up on my prospects when we're ready to go win a championship for proven talent. But if you think of a substantial or an organization that runs smoothly, they have substance in their farm system that they can consistently bring guys up and trade guys where it's nonstop flow. He recognizes that, and that's what needs to be changed for sure. So it's a combination of everything, but all of it's important. Even that, what important position? Building your system. Building your system is also important, which may play a role in how you view some of these trades with the qualifying offer as well. Do you think the Eagles should make a push for Wilson? Yeah, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you? If that opportunity is on the table, you have to at least explore it. In terms of compensation, I don't know what it would take. A lot of compensation, a ton of compensation, a lot of first-round picks. It will be a crucial deal breaker where you're giving up a ton of your future for a 32-year-old franchise quarterback. And in this league, it seems that you can start playing into your 40s. So something that you should absolutely explore. There should be no reason why anyone wouldn't want to at least see what it would take, see what they are looking for. Just to have dialogue. It doesn't hurt for that whatsoever. There are some that just rule it out completely and want zero to do with it. I don't know how you can sit there and say that. I don't know how you can do that right now. It's like, you know what? I don't know. What do you mean? And say, I don't want to have it. No, I don't know. I don't want to have it. Well, it doesn't hurt. It does nothing. It doesn't hurt. You know what would be great, Pat? If we even have baseball. Before we can get into the conversation of is there going to be a DH or no DH, how about we get into the conversation of is there going to be a baseball season? Because the way that this is playing out, the CBA, Scott Boras, the douche that he is, I mean, everyone's like, oh yeah, the players. It's not the players' fault. It's the owner's fault. My ass. Go listen to Scott Boras. He's an ass. He's an ass. The players love him. But it's going to be a scenario where they're going to go back and forth forever. The season's going to be delayed. I love how he takes a shot at Atlanta as if, you know what's bad for the game? Having players like Atlanta does. Oh, because Atlanta has nobody that is represented with you, Scott Boras. You're such a loser. I can't stand the guy. He gets the job done and players are happy with him. But I can't stand the guy. He's horrible for the sport of baseball, unfortunately. For as much as you want to rip Rob Manfred and rip all these owners, Scott Boras is just as bad and just as brutal and just as pathetic, just on the other side of it all. But everyone always wants to be pro players. Yeah, I'll tell you what's great for the game, Scott Boras. Everybody's spending $350 million like the Dodgers to go buy everybody. Yeah, that's great for the game of baseball. No, he's full of it. He's full of it. I believe that Jalen Hurts should be benched. This is from 223. 223 says, I believe Jalen Hurts should get benched. If Hurts is the quarterback on this team next year, I'm not watching. Well, I mean, I don't care if you watch or don't watch. If you have that type of mentality, it doesn't hurt my feelings whatsoever. If you're that stubborn on it, then by all means, that's up to you. That's how you feel. It wouldn't bother me for a half a second. But I would love to know why you feel this strongly where Jalen Hurts should be benched. For who? For what? He gives you the best opportunity to win each week. Now, that doesn't mean he's great. That doesn't mean he's special. He gives you the best opportunity to win every week. Why do you feel so strongly about not even watching the Eagles if he play? Like, that's a whole nother level of hate. I don't believe that he's the full-on answer. I'm willing to support him and see if he can grow into a player that I can feel better about. But to completely write it off as if I'm not even turning on an Eagles game if he like this isn't Deshaun Watson and the drama that's not drama, the toxicness that he brings and the controversy that he brings. There's no controversy in terms of the person. Like, there's nothing that should make you feel that strongly. So that's why I feel it's strictly just a troll job and someone who thinks he's funny and thought that he'd get like more of a reaction to it with the troll opportunity. Dude, he hasn't improved in any shape or form in 11 games. Bottom tier passer. He hasn't. That's not true. Saying he hasn't. Did you watch last game? I mean, there was clearly a significant jump in utilizing the passing game. He threw the ball over the middle way more last game than he has at any point in this season. So to say that he hasn't done anything at all, then you're just not properly assessing the game. It might not be as much as you would like. It might not be at the rate that you like it. To say that there has been zero improvement, well, then you're just not objectively studying what's happening on the football field whatsoever. Now, I have been critical of him and say that he's missed some throws. Yeah, he has missed some throws, as Steve brought up here, and that's unacceptable. He can't miss the throw to Dallas. He can't miss the throw to Devontae Smith. That's an area that he needs to be better. To say he hasn't improved, they've been throwing the ball over the middle of the field. He's had some sharp throws to Devontae Smith this past game on Sunday that we haven't seen all season long. Once again, it's not to the level that I'm sitting here jumping up for joy saying we have our guy, but to say so strongly that you won't even tune it, there's nothing that he's done to make you say, okay, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, tough guy. You change him from Jalen Hurts to who? Gardner Minshew? If Gardner Minshew makes some really nice passes against the cornerbacks of the Chargers, I hope your fucking response is the same thing. Because you can't be all giddy and all excited for the alternative if it's the argument of the players on the other side aren't good. You're just a douche. I mean, there's no other way around it. That nothing will satisfy you. You can say that you don't feel great about Jalen Hurts. The level of intensity you're taking it to, though, is incredibly irrational, horrendously immature, and I don't know what, but you're just one of those guys that are never happy. Nothing will ever satisfy you no matter what. They're not, you're right. You're acting as if they want, does it matter if it's 300 yards or 200-something yards and the game plan is to run heavy? It's obvious that their plan is not to run heavy. To throw heavy, it's to run heavy. So if you're anticipating 300 yards throwing when they only throw the ball 17, 18 times, your mindset is just flawed. And that's where I go back to whatever your thought is heading into the game, it's just irrational. You have irrational thinking before the game even begins. If your mentality is Jalen Hurts better have 300 yards, that's not what their identity has been since Nick Sirianni has pushed the right buttons. Because, yeah, he's not the greatest throwing quarterback in the world, but you can utilize his legs. You can limit his throwing in totality. That can make the most out of what this football team is right now. Yes. Yeah. You're right. You're right. I never said you're wrong. You said you're never watching the Eagles again if he's taking snaps under center next year. That's where you're fucking going over the line. I'm not arguing with you. I've been saying that if you've been listening for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, yeah, they only throw it 17 or 18, 19 times because he's not a thrower that can be dropping back 40. We know that. You said you'll never watch the Eagles again, as if it's that putrid, as if you have Nate Sudfeld taking snaps right now. You think you have, who was the Ben DiNucci? You're almost acting as if the Eagles have Ben DiNucci as their quarterback right now, and you would be disgusted if he is taking snaps under center next year. That I can support. That logic I can support. If Ben DiNucci's taking every snap, I can understand. This is preposterous. Once again, if you don't feel great about Jalen Hurts, I'm right there with you. You're taking it to this level that's going way too far extreme that I can't even wrap my head around. I honestly blame Nick Sirianni for most of the losses. I don't know. I don't know if it's everybody. I don't know if that's everybody. What? But that's not going to happen. That's the thing. It's obvious that they're looking in another direction, but even if they had to use Jalen Hurts for a stopgap while rebuilding their team, I could live with that. Jalen Hurts could be a stopgap 2 years. If you end up throughout your entire life watching the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts ended up having to quarterback 2 of those years, you are okay. Like, it's a stopgap scenario for me where if to rebuild a team, because it takes 53 men to have a legitimate championship caliber team, as we saw, you have to reshape the entire team. If Hurts is your stopgap guy while you build the rest of your team, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. You're saying so that means for 4 years he's your quarterback. If they have to go through 4 years of that, well then yeah, there's monumental issue. There needs to be significant franchise, huge monster changes. But do you know how long 4 years of Jalen Hurts will not be your quarterback for 4 seasons? Once again, you're being irrational. You're going over the top, and you're taking it to the extreme where you're saying 4 years. 4, that's double what I'm saying. Yeah, 4 years, I wouldn't accept it. This season and next season, while utilizing your draft picks to get talent, game-changing talent on your roster, and him being a stopgap guy for a year or 2 is a totally different scenario. So, I mean, once again, you should change your fucking name to 223 Irrational. And I mean that. These are the type of people that, I don't know. It's like their brain doesn't work fully. There's ways to, like, logically approach it. What you're saying about the inability to pass the football, like, yeah, there are concerns in that area. That's crazy. All right. You know what else is crazy? WinView. They're in a different way, though. He's crazy. WinView's crazy solid. Are you tired of getting fleeced by the house? Are you tired of spending time researching players and teams only to end up short? Welcome to WinView. WinView is the only app where skill elevates you over the competition and into the money. Look, you go to the app winview.tv/Brodes and you answer questions about the games that you love. So before the game happens, and there's even live contests as well, you just answer questions about what's happening in the game, and it's super fun. Right now, they'll double your deposit bonus up to $100. For our first-time users, your first deposit will be doubled up to $100. That means if you deposit and spend $50, you'll get $100. If you deposit and spend $100, you'll get $200. This is a perfect bonus to take advantage of the NFL season, the NBA season, the NHL season. All you have to do, download the app, WinView. Down below in the description is the link. I sit there all day, and I scroll, and I scroll, and I scroll more than I do on TikTok, and I answer the questions about the games that I love. I'm telling you, check it out. You will not be disappointed. It's a blast. I got my buddies on it. We all have a group chat. Yo, go check out this game. Then we can kind of see how we answered each question. It's super fun. You should try it as well. The process says, as of right now, I think Jalen deserves another season, especially after seeing the offense when they incorporated the run. Well, I mean, the reason why you incorporated the run so heavily is because of his flaws. You can't deny that. We're just going to ignore him at this point. I think that's probably the best way to approach things. Don't give him the time or day. Once you say that Gardner Minshew is like a proven product, I think basically everything else you say is somewhat irrelevant. So don't even give him the time of day anymore. But I mean, I don't know if he necessarily deserves another year. It's tough. 1 year is hard for a sample size for anybody. Head coaches, quarterbacks, players. That's why after a draft, everyone says there's a 3-year window on a player because it takes time. And yeah, I mean, he does deserve a year in those regards. But at the same time, there are clear deficiencies. There are clear deficiencies in who he is. And I'm not against looking in another direction, but I'm also not against him being a stopgap guy for 2 seasons while you reshape your roster. But at the same time, we know that there's a quarterback factory in Howie Roseman's mind. And if he can upgrade the quarterback position, he's going to upgrade the quarterback position. From a Leafs fan, good game last night. Don't give me good game last night, Ethan. There was nothing in the good game department last night at all. They were miserable. They were awful. They were terrible. The Flyers were not good last night. So don't good game me. Don't good game me. Say bad game last night, Brodes. Bad game. That's all. Say bad game last night. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. I also wouldn't rule out the potential to become more accurate passer. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, if Lamar Jackson could do it, can Jalen Hurts do it? You could just see the difference in level. You could just see the difference in, like, when Jalen Hurts is throwing the football, you can see how much he has to put every ounce, every inch, everything into his throws. It doesn't happen easily for him. He's got to work extremely hard to get off these throws. And if you have to do that over a 3-year sample size, is it going to catch up to you at one point? How long can you consistently throw that level of effort out for each throw? You know, like at some point it will bite you. At some point it will come back. It doesn't come out easy for him. And that's the problem. I mean, this is probably, my guess is Eric is the same exact person as 223, and he just logged into a different account, if I had to guess, because nobody really thinks that they should build around Gardner Minshew. And like, I would laugh as if that's funny, but it's so dumb it's not even funny, you know? Like it's not even a little bit funny. I don't know much about the quarterback prospects. This is from Jimmy, but I haven't heard great things. Yeah, it is definitely on the weaker side, and I don't want to force drafting a quarterback just to say, hey, look, we drafted a quarterback because we need one and we're drafting high. It has to be the right guy. It can't just be take a guy to take a guy. It's got to be the proper guy and the proper mindset around it. And that's where I think they've screwed up in the past, where, you know, you can look in so many directions. And 1 year they're drafting just speed. The next year they're drafting just certain elements to some of the skill sets they're looking for. Then, you know, it's so different based off of year to year. They don't have a structured game plan where they know what they're looking for year in and year out. It's always something new, analytically driven. And this is why we're going for Rager. And this is why we're going with Taylor. And this is why we're doing this, where they don't have a structured philosophy of the type of players that they try and analyze as an organization. What's up, Metal Mike? What's happening? Ugly loss. Flyers will bounce back. Will they? They play the Carolina Hurricanes on Friday, who are what, 10-1? Are they 10-1 on the season? That means they're due for a loss, to be fair, unless that loss came recently. When did that loss happen? Let's see. Yeah, the Hurricanes are 10-1, and they lost not last game, the game before. So they lost to the Panthers. They beat the Lightning in overtime. Now they play the Flyers. I don't know if it's going to be easy just to bounce back like that. Would you add Maxey along Ben? No. I think at this point, you got to keep Maxey, man. You got to keep Maxey. He's showing signs of legitimacy where I'm excited for what he can grow into. I really am. I'm not going to say like it's fully 1,000% zero. Never, ever, 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 ever would I trade. He's not LeBron James. Right? He's not Kevin Durant. He's definitely not at that level. But I'm not just. He's not part of a deal. I think Tyrone was kind of saying this on Mikey Miss's show yesterday perfectly as I tuned in and out throughout the 4-hour show yesterday. I heard him basically say he's not like a throw-in anymore. Before it was like, hey, you'll throw in Maxey with Ben, or excuse me, you'll throw in Matisse with Ben to get him out of town. You'll throw in, Matisse Thybulle, like that type of throw-in. Okay, is Tyrese Maxey, has he shown you enough now where, just throwing him in, you have to think differently about that. You have to think, I don't know. Is it worth it? Do we have to? One of those. I don't know what that is, but one of those. I think everyone in the hockey world is talking about Florida Panthers being a contender. Not around here. Hell, nobody's even talking about the Flyers around here in general. But in the hockey world, yeah, there's a lot of people around. If you watch NHL Network, if you listen to Elliot Friedman, if you listen to anything in TSN related, yeah, they're talking about the Florida Panthers. They're a legit hockey team. They're a legit squad. I would have specifically said go after a guy like Russell Wilson, but our quarterback is the next Russ. Thanks, Howie. I mean, obviously I sense sarcasm here, but I don't know what to say. What, that Russell Wilson? What if they get Russell Wilson, though? What if they trade for Russell Wilson? I obviously see the sarcasm, but I guess I'm just having a difficult time knowing how to respond to this said sarcasm. Connor says, I draft 2 big names on defense and trade for our first round next year. Wait, I draft 2 big names on defense and trade our first for a first next year. I wonder how that would be perceived by the Howie haters. If with these 3 first rounders, they draft 2 guys and then they trade away their first round draft pick this year for another draft pick in the years following. That would be interesting. I'm curious how that would be. Now, I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all because these first round picks are significant. You got to hit on the right guy, and they don't do that whatsoever. But I would honestly think that that's very creative, depending on what's on the board and which pick you're trading. Obviously, more like the Indianapolis Colts' pick, if that's where you're at. I saw the headline of Carson Wentz is willing to play and miss the birth of his child, which is just hysterical. That 1, he would do that, and 2, thinking of the Eagles and the percentage of snaps. Love that. I think it's hysterical. You missed the birth of your child for a football game. Yeah. Locker room guy, huh? Just a full-on locker room guy. I love it. Yeah, I knew what you were saying. I knew what you were saying from that regard. That's why I said I understood the sarcasm. I understood the sarcasm there. If the Colts pick ends up being late teens or 20s, I definitely consider moving. Yeah, for sure. I mean, once again, it depends on what talent is there. If there's a guy that you think can definitely help out your football team and you can make a strong case that he's a serious weapon for you, no matter where it is on the football field, I'd have to consider it. But I'd also have to consider maybe trying to have some compensation for next year as well, knowing that they need to get younger and they can definitely take advantage of where they're at in the position that they're in. For sure. So, it all depends. And at the time of the moment, I feel differently than where I am now. We're so far away from the draft and so far away from that scenario. It's difficult to know where our emotions are going to be at that time, who's on the board, what they're looking for, what they've already selected in the draft. If they already targeted a couple positions that you think are, crew, hey, we got a lot here. We can now maybe, if we can, squeeze another draft pick out compared to we need to get more. We did okay. We need to get more. So it depends. And if there's someone specific on the board, it changes everything 1,000%. Yeah, well, they're definitely targeting a quarterback. They're making it very known. They're making it very clear, as you see the way that Howie Roseman is maneuvering around some of these situations right now and going to look at certain players, going to look at certain quarterbacks. They're basically telling you where they're at right now, which is no surprise. Anyone who's watching these games can clearly see where they are at with the quarterback position. So, no surprise at all. No, I want nothing to do with Kyrie Irving, Justin. Nothing to do with Kyrie Irving. Jaylen Brown, yeah, but I don't see the Boston Celtics doing it. I thought that was more fugazi than it was real. But what if you tell me I could trade Ben Simmons for Jaylen Brown in a heartbeat? In a heartbeat. That's a no-brainer. That's an automatic. That's a yes, 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 yes. That's a yes. Imagine if the Sixers do trade Ben for Jaylen Brown and the Celtics have Ben, Horford, and Richardson. That's actually hilarious, Justin. That's hilarious. I never even thought about that. I forgot that Richardson was even there, to be honest with you, until yesterday. And I've been following from a distance on how they were struggling early and losing some games in overtime, and the fans were very disappointed. But that is actually hilarious to think about where that is the case. How are the Celtics doing? I haven't paid too much attention to them as of recent, their earlier starts. They are 5-6. So it seems like they're still kind of on that same path from when I looked, when they were losing in overtime. They lost to the Knicks in overtime. They lost to the Raptors, and they beat the Rockets. They beat the Hornets. They lost to the Wizards twice in a row. One was in overtime, though. Then they lost to the Bulls. They're basically flirting around 500. Win one, lose one. Win one, lose one. Then the Celtics are fundamentally broken. It's crazy because a couple of years back, you would have said they're set up to run the East for years. They're set up to take control of the East for years. Well, not really. Not from what I'm seeing. What the hell happened to the Hawks? Where are the Hawks right now? See, first off, it's very early in the season, so I'm not going to overreact to teams, but I'll tell you what, last year was a miracle ride. Last year was a fun journey. Sometimes we watch it with the Nationals. We watch it with the Braves. We watch it with the Eagles. Sometimes seasons just click for you. And sometimes that result is a championship. Sometimes it's a nice run. It was clear. That's why, and even to this day, even though the Sixers lost, the Sixers were by far a better basketball team than the Hawks. The Hawks just had a nice run, and they were hot at the right time. They're not some magnificent elite team that's now going to be rolling through the Eastern Conference year in and year out like the Milwaukee Bucks do. The Milwaukee Bucks right now are 6-6, but let's just wait for by the end of the season, they'll be just fine. I guarantee it. There are organizations and teams that are steadily at the top of the Eastern Conference nonstop because, well, that's where they're at. What the Atlanta Hawks did last year to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, no, they're not that level of team, but it was a nice journey for them. It was a nice little ride. And they could have. They're not horrendous. They're not disgusting. They're not 4-8 either. They're somewhere in between. But when you say what happened to the Hawks, what happened to the Hawks is they got hot at the right time and they beat a team that their point guard just shriveled up. And their point guard did not want to compete, and he stood underneath the basket and did nothing for 48 minutes consistently, and they played 5-on-4 basketball for way too long, and the Hawks took advantage of that. That's what happened. That's what happened. That's reality of the situation. Yeah, while he might be struggling with the new foul rules, that's not the reason why they're 4-8. Yes, adjustments have to be made, but that's not the reason why they're 4-8 to start the season. Because that's such a minuscule amount of possessions throughout. And I get it. Oh, but that's all Trae Young did. Yes, that was a part of his game. But once again, it's not the reason why you're 4-8. Flyers fan here in Georgia couldn't get the game last night. They looked bad. They looked very, very bad. What's the takeaway? Zach, I'll tell you this. I'll tease this. I'll be recording a podcast here this morning about it. So I have my notes. You can check it out at brodesmedia.com. I uploaded my notepad. And what I do here after the Flyers game is I print out my notes, and I use those notes as a, kind of like something I look at while I'm recording my podcast. So for the Flyers games, I like to upload my notebook so you can kind of see my notebook, and then I record on my notes. So I'll definitely end up recording a podcast, I believe, this morning. So that's kind of my tease on my takeaway. Well, you'll find out shortly. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me this morning here on Thursday. I can't believe it's Thursday. This week has just kind of really flown by for me as we move forward to Eagles-Broncos, the last 4 o'clock game of the season. There's a couple, I think there's a to be determined game later on, but I think that's going to be a 1 o'clocker anyway because the Eagles stink. So, yeah. With that being said, thank you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with me this morning. You guys are great. I'm going to make another cup of coffee. I'm going to record. We got Sixers tonight. Schmoozed. I got Steven Nelson, Eagles cornerback, on Schmoozed. So that'll be dropping in about 9 minutes. Look out for that. Thank you.